Hello everybody, good evening. Welcome to the Friday night show on the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. And also get your questions in because it is a Friday night. The end of what has been a good week for Manchester United. If we're being completely honest, I think it has been a good week. The opening of Carrington, we've got a live, we can actually play you Sir Jim Radcliffe's live speech from that because he cut the ribbon. At the end of the day, we're Manchester United and we're never going to fucking stop. Champers. There we go. Champers are on me. In me. We've also got what Amorim's plan B appears to be in relation to Baleba. And obviously I want to talk about where we are basically a week out from the start of a week out from the start of the Premier League season for sure. It's a week tonight that Liverpool play Bournemouth, and it's a week on Sunday that we play Arsenal in what looks like it will be the Sesco Gyökeres derby. But look, the reality is, I think it's been a good week. It's been a brilliant week for this community, by the way. Thank you everybody who gets involved. Some amazing numbers, new members, new people to join our community. I think that's always a great thing. So welcome if you're new. Okay, let's get into this then. So. Look, I sort of feel that with Baleba we're going to sign him. So first of all, I just want to say that I do think that we will sign him. As I said, I think there's no smoke without fire, and I think when you get people like David Ornstein involved in a deal, then I'm sure that there is something definitely there going to go on. Interestingly, though, we were talking about this morning. And look, I'll stand corrected on this. I mean, this is a source that has been ridiculed for nearly a decade and suddenly got something right. So maybe maybe it's a change of ownership of the account. I don't know what it is, but look, credit where credit's due. They were right about Baleba. Although to be fair, Ben Jacobs did say a week before. But this has come out tonight from Indicator that Manchester United are pushing to lower Baleba's transfer fee. But if not, they'll target another player. They're also checking with Crystal Palace on Adam Wharton's availability, who has a gentleman's agreement to leave next summer, and that could be brought forward. So look, some people are already in the chat just saying it's just guesswork now. And look, we were talking about Wharton this morning. We were talking about Yulman this morning. So look, I could put a tweet out. You could put a tweet out and say that Man United are going to go for Wharton if they can't get Baleba. Absolutely, you could do that. But Man United have been very interested in Adam Wharton for probably about 18 months. It started pretty much the minute he went to Palace, and he ended last season well. We were looking at him last summer, and there was talk about impossibility, but maybe this summer. And now it's impossible, but maybe next summer. So Wharton's going to leave Palace at some point, and he's definitely a player that Manchester United really do appreciate and like. I mean, I sort of agree with Yanni. I would like to see Wharton and Baleba as our midfield two to build with over the next few years. It's exactly the type of profile that we need. One this summer, one next summer. Bruno goes to Saudi. You know, that sort of works for me. But look, do I think that that's a viable plan B? I think the most important thing is that there has to be, for a multitude of reasons, a plan B to Baleba. There can't be a plan nothing. There has to be a plan B, because if you can't do the deal, he could play a friendly this weekend and break his leg, and then you've got to have a plan B. Brighton could say absolutely not. Baleba could say I'm not leaving for another year. So Man City could swoop in. Man United could say they're not going to pay what Brighton want. There's a multitude of reasons to say why we might not sign Baleba. So we have to have a plan B, because as we've discussed before, we can't say we want Baleba. We really, really want Baleba. There's a huge hole in our midfield, and Baleba's the one to fill it. And then you don't get Baleba and go, I was only joking. I was actually only joking. There's nothing wrong with the midfield. We'll be fine. Well, everything's fine. Everything is fine. I know my house is on fire. I said it was on fire, and I called a fire engine. The fire engine's not going to come, so it's fine. I'm just going to walk into this inferno. It's absolutely fine. And it's not fine. So we have to have an alternative. And if it is Adam Wharton, I still think it could be Yulman. It maybe could even be Edison. I think there are 4 options there, and you can rank them as much as you want, but I think we've landed on the right target to go for first. But sometimes you don't always get what you want. sometimes you get disappointment. Speak to Newcastle, and you have to pivot. And I think that if it is to be Wharton or Yeoman or whatever, I think that's a mature way of doing business, because we have to have an alternative in the next few weeks. We can't wait a year and then maybe not get him anyway. So yeah, look, I think that's a good idea. But personally, I think that we will get Baleba. I know a lot of you've said you were very relaxed and you were right about Sesko. It's nice to be relaxed. It's nice to be correct. In fact, it's nice not to have information. We've had a bit of information over the summer and it hasn't always gone the way of the info. And I think with this Sesko one, it was just nice to observe it as a fan and just go, you know, I've played the game. I've played the bloody game. You know, I've played the game. Nonsense. And I just felt that we would do the deal, and I felt that it went exactly the way I predicted it would, and the medical has, and the announcement on the pitch tomorrow. Everything with Sesko has gone exactly as I thought it would go. And I think with Baleba, it will go exactly as I think again. I think I can't give you time. It might be August the 31st. It might be next week. But I think that we've had that first stage of public interest. That is done purposely, by the way. We haven't bid for the player. He hasn't agreed to come to us. But David Ornstein has been used again. And I'm not saying we've used him in a bad way. Man United have actually switched on a little bit here, and I don't know who it is. But Man United last summer, almost planned. Last summer, Manchester United basically shut down the Manchester Evening News, the Athletic, and everybody for transfer news. They basically said, no, you're not having any. We're going to Ornstein and Romano. And that, remember last summer, that was it. It was Ornstein and Romano. There was one story that was led by the Daily Mail, and I think that was Simon Jones and the Branthwaite story. And I think that by doing that, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And Man United have probably more than any other club utilised these transfer gurus to their benefit, because Mbeumo, unsettled by Ornstein's story, but not unsettled in a bad way, not in a like put a transfer request in. That Mbeumo story happened at the start of June, and it basically told the world that Mbeumo wants Manchester United and Man United want him. And it just makes that deal have to happen. All right, it took us a long time, but it makes it have to happen. Last week, Sesko out of nowhere, Ornstein, Man United are in the race and they only want Sesko. And a lot of people read it as, oh, why's that happened? Newcastle are going to pay 90 million. What's going on here? The reason we did that is, David, this is what we want to do. He's out. Yeah, okay. David Ornstein puts it out there, exclusive. And what that did is it basically told Sesko, we only want you. It basically unsettled Sesko to go, oh, I only want Man United as well. Goodbye, Newcastle. And the deal gets done. And I think, again, we've done it again. David, we're going for the hat trick. We want Baleba, and we've had talks with his intermediaries. See you later. Have a good weekend. Champers. And David Ornstein goes, yeah, Man United have had talks with intermediaries for Baleba in the last few days, and suddenly the whole world knows about it again. The tactic is, we're not unsettling players. We're just publicly expressing our desire for players, and it unsettles the situation in a polite way. Brighton, we respect and like you. Brentford, we respect and like you. Leipzig, we respect and like you. But we want your player. And the player themselves goes, Man United want me. Man United actually want me. David Ornstein is saying that Man United want me. So they definitely do want me. It's an Ornstein bomber. They want me. And the player starts going, it's Manchester United. They go all Gary Neville. They're getting up at R4 excited, going, it's Manchester United. And it's worked really, really well. So I think that, credit where it's due, I think we've used Ornstein and Romano to a certain extent in a really good way, because it's worked. It has worked. It worked very well with Sesko, and I think it's going to work with Baleba as well. Brighton can stop it, of course they can, but you don't always hit. You know, sometimes you miss a penalty, and but I think we're definitely going to take one. And I think we'll score it. I think we'll get him, but it will be very difficult. It will be difficult. But as you were all saying this morning, it's a one-shot lottery. But I think we will get him. And I think what will happen is the public expression of interest, Brighton saying they want ridiculous money. We sit down and we go, okay, you're selling him at some point. What's it going to take? What is it going to take? And then if they come up with something stupid, you basically say to Beliebers people, look, we're willing to pay a good price, but they want ridiculous money, so we're going to have to walk away. And then Beliebers people go, hold on a minute. You're only paying us 12.5 grand a week. United are willing to give us 150 grand a week, and they're willing to give you 80 million pounds. You know, we're not happy about that. And then it starts. So, but it could be a long process. We'll have to wait and see. Do you think we've gone all out, like an all or nothing kind of thing, with no more big transfers in the winter or next summer? I don't understand how we can go from having nothing to spend this amount. It's kind of scary, says Mac. The thing is, Mac, and I was reading what Swedish Rumble had to say on X the other day, and he's absolutely right. Client journalism has manipulated this fan base to make us believe that we don't have any money. Client journalism for the last few years has led us to believe that we can't afford to buy a tube of toothpaste. And every year they do it. And every year they take it from the club and they put it out there that, you know, we're in big trouble, FFP. Even Amorim was talking about it. But the cold, harsh fact is, Man United can spend £250 million this financial year and they won't get in trouble. The issue is where they get the money from. That's always been the case. When you look at Chelsea, they find ways of getting the money into the club. And Man United probably didn't want to do it. So you put stories out about FFP, I mean, Sir Jim Radcliffe said the club nearly went bust. Did he bollocks? So I think you get these stories that, I say client journalism because they don't behave like journalists. They take a story from whoever it is putting out there that we've got FFP and PSR concerns. They print it, and they're basically just the delivery person. What they actually should do is do some bloody homework on FFP and go, but you can spend. If you do this, this, and this, you can spend. But they don't. So you end up being scaremongered. And I don't really listen to the stories about FFP limitations or PSR limitations anymore, because you go back to last summer. Was it the summer before or was it the summer before that? It was Ten Hag's first summer. We've got no money. We've done all our business. We've got no money. We lose to Brentford and Brighton. Oh, I've just found £130 million for Casemiro and Anthony. So the money is there. It is there. They probably just don't want to spend it, but it is there. And remember, we are nearly £1 billion in debt. We have got to build a stadium. We are loaded with interest payments every year running into tens of millions of pounds. But actually, we can spend money because the debt doesn't impact your FFP. Your FFP is done by what you earn and what you spend. Well, I tell a lie. The 800 million of debt isn't held against us for FFP purposes. What is the interest payments that we make. That is counted as money going out of the club. So yeah, we have got money. It's just how much money they want to spend. Fans need to temper expectations on Sesko. He's going to be inconsistent. He's not the finished article yet, says B. Kraus. Well, we will see Sesko on the pitch tomorrow. I do want to talk about this just momentarily because it's your show, as always, on an 8 o'clock show. So Carrington opened up today, and bloody impressive it is. And I want to just give a big shout out to Cristiano Ronaldo, actually, because I think that was the spark that started the fire. That Piers Morgan interview when he said that I came back after over 10 years and it was the same tiles missing from the swimming pool that when I left. It's very, very nice. And, you know, you have to acknowledge it is amazing. You also have to acknowledge why it was so shit, but it's very similar to Old Trafford. Carrington was left to rot like Old Trafford. But obviously, Carrington is where our players spend most of their day in the week. And Old Trafford is the place where we go as fans. The players, the pitch will always be okay. The dressing room's okay. They can leave Old Trafford to rot and rust because they want to build something new. But Carrington never should have been left to go like that, because that's where your players are. That's where your fitness departments are. That's where your canteen is. That's where your state-of-the-art technology is. And looking at the tour of Carrington, it's scary what it was before, really. You know, they've got state-of-the-art cinema room where all the players can come in. They've got, you know, top-of-the-range sort of pools and these these mini pools that you can get in, and when you've seen them swimmers who swim and they're in slow motion because they're just swimming as hard as they can, but the water is sort of like competing against them. They've got all that sort of shit. It looks like the dog's bollock. I mean, to be fair, it looks very similar to Spurs. What I saw of Spurs when they did that all or nothing. It's long overdue, but that doesn't mean you can't. It's a bit like signing Baleba. If we get him, we should say that's a really good signing. We can also say we should have been doing this sort of stuff for years, but it's still overdue. Hydro pools, that's what they're called, Josh. So, yeah, Carrington looks really impressive. And obviously, we've got some interesting players coming in as well. But I do agree with Brian that we have got to be patient with Sesko. And as we were talking about this morning, I know most of you agree with me. I genuinely think, I'd love Rasmus to play tomorrow and score a couple of goals. I really don't think we should be letting him go. I like Xerxes and I like Obi, but I don't think they are the right supplement to Sesko. And Sesko could get injured. He could struggle. There's a lot of pressure for him. I actually think it would do him good to be sort of the first few weeks playing 70 minutes and coming off and having a bit of somebody who, a couple of strikers that actually are working together, not against each other. I just think it's ridiculous to sell or loan Rasmus. I think we should be keeping him, letting them compete against each other and help each other because they're both 22. And I think if we remove Rasmus, we go back to the situation of last season where I never felt Xerxes was a backup to Rasmus. And the year before that, there was no backup because Martial was injured. I think we need two strikers. And I think it will massively help Sesko as well. I just think it's financial. I think Amorim would like to keep Rasmus. I mean, Rasmus, as we know, he wants to stay. I think Amorim would. There's no manager in the world that doesn't want options. By the way, there's no manager going, I'd rather lose a striker to get a striker. He would rather keep both because any coach is selfish. When I was coaching, if I had a player who was good up front and then they replaced the player I had last season, I wouldn't want to get rid of the player I had last season. I'd want them to be on the bench as well. So I don't know. I feel it's probably financial, and that's why we've got to try and get some players out. Do you think we should leverage add-ons if he really is the player they think they'd get 120 million for next season? Then we eventually pay it, but get him now, says the Boffman. I think with Baleba, I'm a firm believer that we will get him, and I think whatever deal they end up doing. I think as a fan, we've just got to realise that if you want him, this is how you do it. Because there is no tomorrow on it. There is no next year. It's now or never. And look, Declan Rice at £100 million seemed ridiculous to some. It was a snip. It's their midfield for the next 10 years. And he's one of the best in Europe. So they're worth it. If you get the right player, they're worth it. Donnarumma and Sesko might want United for the challenge. If they are part of the reason for the resurgence of United, they'd be legends, says Madrawawi. Yeah, the Donnarumma story just doesn't feel viable to me. I think because of Sesko, because of Cunha and Burma, because Baleba is a genuine story, I think people want to believe that Donnarumma is possible. I don't think it is. I genuinely don't. I think this is a goalkeeper that's going to want silly money, and I don't think we should pay it. I think Donnarumma is arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, but I don't want to pay 200-300 grand a week for a goalkeeper. No. So I don't think it will happen, but I wouldn't say it's not going to happen. There's that, the clever and settling strategy, but we did pay the correct market price. Same with Baleba, bit inflated, probably due to limited time, says Gabriel. Say if we get 50 million for Garnacho, how much do we get towards FFP, says Ben. I mean, that doesn't actually make any sense, Ben. If we get £50 million for Garnacho, we get £50 million for Garnacho. The reason it's valuable is because it's pure profit. So if you got £50 million for Anthony, you get 20 million profit because there's still 30 million of book value from the years that he's still got left on his contract. Whereas Garnacho, whatever we get, 10, 15, 20, it's pure profit. So that 50 million goes straight into the club as pure profit, and you could use that 50 million to maybe pay the first 3 instalments on Mbeumo, or you could do year one of Mbeumo, Cunha and Sesko. So it frees up funds to go and do other business. Could Ineos sponsor the Carrington toilets to inject some funds, Mark? Yes, they could. Brighton will want 100 million, and I don't think they are the sort of club to accept anything less. No, Dazzo, I think with Brighton and Baleba, we aren't going to... We would be wasting our time if we think that we can play this out to the end of the month and get him for like 60 or 70. That won't happen. Which is why I think we'll do the deal, because I don't think we're going to go into this deal thinking we can get him for 60 or 70. I think we're going to go into it knowing it's going to be a lot of money. I see 80 in add-ons. That's what I see. I see 80 plus add-ons, and I think that would be good. Anything less, and we might get it less, would be fantastic, but that's what I think we're going to go in with. Because Brighton would love to keep him for another year and have a good season. I'm actually over these inflated prices. What would Baleba be worth if they win the Premier League or the Champions League? Peak value should be for peak ability, not potential, says Frank. Was this the plan all along? Go big towards the end of the window, says Simon. Not really. No, it wasn't, because we have tried for players earlier in the window that we didn't get. There may be an element of truth to that, and I spoke about it last night, that maybe, and it is a conspiracy, maybe we did purposely wait to go for Baleba at the end of the window because we didn't want competition from clubs that hadn't spent their budgets. But then again, as we said this morning, Man City are still there. Success builds confidence and buzz, attracts players like bees to honey, says J-Lo. I like this comment. I like this comment. I don't want to do this, but I am going to do it. I have been noticing it a lot in the last 48 hours, and you can sort of set your watch by it. The toxic positivity brigade, who are over egging the pudding a little bit. They're talking about Carrington, they're talking about Sesko, they're talking about Baleba, they're talking about top four, they're talking about United being back, they're talking about... I just think temper your expectations for your own sanity, but also for Ruben Amorim. Like, we're not back, we're not finishing the top four, we're not going to challenge for the league, and we're not one of the best clubs in England just because we've opened up Carrington and bought 3 players. We finished 15th. We got run off the park by teams from the bottom half of the table. We were bloody awful last season, and it is nigh on impossible for us to go from that to even a top 6 team. So I would just say to those people that are running away with it, and excitement's fine, I'm excited, but reality is as well. Like, we've got a ridiculously hard start to the season. We've still got a goalkeeper we don't trust, and we've still got a midfield that is not that good. So I think we need to just the only reason I say it is just to temper expectation, because the thing that worries me about these extremities of mood is that suddenly people are really excited, going, we're back, we're going to get in the top 4, this, that and the other. If we lose 2 of our first 3 games, they'll be saying sack Amorim and get the Glazers out and get Sir Jim out as well. And that's what I mean about extremity of mood. We have a few people in our fan base that go from one extreme to the other. I think most of us are like excited. You know, Carrington does look good. Amorim is being backed. We're not quite there yet. We have to get the midfielder, and I still think we need to get a goalkeeper. But there is a lot of people in that squad, and whilst I do think we'll pick up injuries, there seems to be quite a lot of cover in a lot of positions. The only place I'm probably worried about is, well, goalkeeper, midfield, and if anything happens to Sesko and we sell Rasmus, I think we might be a little bit short up front. But full-backs, centre-backs, mid-10s, wide players, we've got a lot of options. So I don't think we're going to lose to Arsenal opening day. I've been saying that for weeks. I don't think we will lose to Arsenal opening day. So I am mildly optimistic about this season, and for me, it's all about 5th, and that will be a huge achievement. I don't say 5th lightly. 15th to 5th is very big in what was the most competitive Premier League season I've seen in years behind Liverpool. So, yeah, I think 5th place would be a a real major achievement and maybe a trophy, you know, maybe a trophy. We are a good cup team. Do you think we can get the price down? In my opinion, I think it's too expensive, and I don't see that 100 million going down, says Andre. I don't think we can get the price down with Brighton, no. I'm more around 80 million. We won't get it any cheaper than that. Baleba's idol is Pogba. Maybe he'll follow his idol like Sesko followed Ibra, says N. There are similarities with Pogba and Baleba, actually. Baleba's a little smaller, which isn't a bad thing in the midfield, but he has got the ability to drive and dribble and play the quick 1-2s. I mean, in fairness, the profile of Baleba is not dissimilar to Mainu, even though they're completely different. Their traits are quite similar. Like, I think Baleba's just quicker and he's more tenacious, but Mainu can take people on, he can carry the ball, he can play a good pass, he can put a foot in. I just think Baleba's quicker. They're not similar players, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that they do have a lot of midfield traits, and then they've got the attacking traits as well. I just think Baleba's game is more intense and quicker. Do you think we've gone all out like an all out? I've done that one from Mac. 85 plus 10, 50 up front, sell on for Baleba after sales, says Ryan. Whilst we're talking about the spine, not that the right wing back and left back are absolutely sorted, says Wilson. I think Dorgu's going to have a big season. I think Leon is obviously very, very, very well liked, and I think he's going to have a big season. So I'm not worried about the left-hand side. Right-hand side, Ahmad's going to play there a lot. Dalot's going to play there a lot. And Mazraoui can play there. You might not like the profile, but we have got the cover. Could this be why Garnacho to Chelsea is accelerating? Funds for Baleba, says Alex. I don't know why it's accelerating, to be honest with you, but you might be right, yeah. Will we have to sell to buy, or will they pull out that credit card again, says Sean. I think ideally we do want to sell to buy, but ultimately you can buy and then sell. Wharton is good, but he's not like for like with Baleba, says 1 Inch Wonder. I mean, I don't think there is a player that's like for Baleba. Yulman's not like for like either. Edison's not like for like. You know, nobody should be like for like really, but they are. We may have to do that. Wharton be better if next to Bruno, says Robert McCormack. Hope you're doing well. United got Arsenal priority striker. Well done, Ineos, says class of 99. Can we get Baleba before selling Garnacho or use the funds from that sale, says Alonso? I mean, you can do or you can't do. You might do an Agate and wait till McTominay's gone. Or you might do what we've done with Sesko and Burmo and get them in before you've sold anyone. So we can, and rightly so. I mean, I would applaud that as well. Last year, we weren't doing deals until we got the money in. This year, we are. And I think that's a far more intelligent way of working. Imagine if we were waiting to sell before we could get in Burmo and Sesko. Can we get Baleba? Done that one. Happy Friday, Mark and the Reds. I feel a wave of positivity recently with Manchester United. Not going to overthink it. Just enjoy it. Exactly. That's the way it should be, Rohan. Kim, you're a legend. Thank you very much for joining the Members Club. Really appreciate that. Thank you for getting your badge in. And Wan says Champers Bridge. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. If we sell Rasmus, are we not acknowledging what has happened over the past 5 seasons? One player at the number 9 kills us every single season, says Brody. Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. I don't think Rasmus wants to go. I don't think Amorim really wants him to go because coaches will always want options. But financially, I think the club might be going, well, it brings us a bit of money in. I mean, I think Fabrizio said that if they loan Rasmus, they get about 8 million quid. It's just not enough to lose a striker for a season. It's not enough. £8 million to lose a striker for 1 year. And nobody trusts obligations to buy. So I would rather keep the option because worst case scenario, Sesko gets injured or he flops. I don't think Xerxes can lead the line, and that's why we bought Sesko. So I don't think that Amorim thinks that Xerxes is a striker anyway. Otherwise, why buy Sesko? So I just think the more options, the better. I think Amorim should be safe if we see a consistent style of play in top 8. I think that's fair, says Sean. Honestly, I mean, look. If we had a horrific start to the season and lost our first 8 games, I think he's gone. But I think if we lost to Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, drew to Fulham and ended up with, let's say, 8 points from our first 8 games, 8 points from 24, and we're in the bottom, 15th or below, I don't think he gets the sack. I think there'll be huge noise. But what is... I think we need to wake up to this. What is that noise? Who is that noise? It's an old, decrepit, irrelevant media that we shouldn't listen to in relation to our manager anymore. We shouldn't be led by these people anymore. I mean, some of these journalists that are around Man United, they're just vile. They're vile. They're not Man United fans, they're vile. And some of these people that are on the radio and on the TV, they're prats being fed bits of paper from people who don't support Man United. The people that should sack Amorim or any Man United man is you. And all I would say is don't be led by those vile voices that are ready to go. And look, they are ready to go. They're 100% ready to go. Don't ever think that they're not ready to go on our manager. And I'll tell you why they're ready to go. Because they work for organisations that need Manchester United to be the story. They cannot deal with Man United. A good season for them would be 5th. We know that. 5th place for us would be a good season. But what does that do to these big corporations who own these newspapers and TV stations and radio stations? They need Man United to be at the very top or at the very bottom. They cannot do with patient rebuilds. So just hold that thought when we lose a game early on and people start going, Amorim out, and you start doing it as a United fan. We need to play our part as well, because I tell you what, I said it this time last year with Ten Hag, I do not want to be sacking another manager during the season again. It completely and utterly sends us back to ground zero. It also disrupts everything, and actually it gets harder and harder to rebuild, because Ten Hag had to deal with Ollie and Van Gaal and Jose's mistakes. Amorim has to deal with Ten Hag's mistakes and everybody else's mistakes. The next manager has to deal with Amorim, Ten Hag, Ollie. It gets harder and harder every time. We've got to go down the long road. I like Amorim. He's lost a lot of games. He completely messed up the Europa League final, and I like him. I don't think there's going to be a point where I don't like Amorim. So if we're going to do the long game with somebody, let's do it with Amorim. Like, we've never tried it. We've never gone, look, okay, we might be 12th at Christmas. Don't bloody sack him. Don't sack him. Stick with him. We've got to give him this season. I don't want to see a manager sacked at Christmas again, because it's painful what happens next. We've got to stick with him, 100%. Do most clubs pay in instalments now? Can they doing this hurt us? I'm not too familiar with that sort of stuff, says Move Maniac. No, I mean, it's been going on for years. It's just not become very... God, mate, it wasn't even... I mean, can you remember? It was only probably 3 transfer windows ago that we actually used to do transfers in the fee. We'd go, well, we've spent 65 million on Mbermo. We've spent 62 million on Cunha. That's 127. We've spent 66 on Sesko. So that's what's that? 193 million. We spent 193 million. We've probably only got 7 left of a 200 budget. We were doing that the whole world was doing that 3 years ago. No one does it anymore. There is no such thing as a budget, because you never know what you're paying on those players, and you never know what you're still playing on the previous players. Like, I think we had, was it 89 million that we had to spend this summer on players that we already own? So yeah, everybody's doing instalments. Move Maniac. Tony says, is there any more news on Lemens? Seems the more realistic option. All I know about Lemens, Tony, is that on Monday I got told after Sesko we're going to go for Lemens as the goalkeeper. Now, let's see. I don't know that the way this transfer window's gone, when an opportunity presents itself, we have pivoted. For example, 2 weeks ago, definitely we wanted Watkins. We approached Villa. Villa started going, we want 60 million. And then within 24 hours, we're on Sesko. So United have pivoted. Well, that's the biggest one of the lot. I just don't know. And I have got no information on this at all. And I did say it on the morning show. I just don't know if with the goalkeeper, why are we willing to start the season with Onana in goal? And I just don't know if there's something we think might happen at the end of the window with a goalkeeper. Maybe it is ter Stegen. Maybe it's Martinez after he's served his ban. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the Villa goalkeeper who's playing in goal for the first game of the season has a worldie, and Emery keeps Martinez on the bench, and then they're unhappy and he goes cheap. I don't know whether Man United know the goalie they're getting and they're waiting till the end of the window. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Emi Martinez, but I don't know that for sure. It's a bit of a conspiracy, and it could be ter Stegen. Like, I don't know. But I look. I like the look of Lemens, but Emi Martinez comes in and he's a goalkeeper that knows the league and is way better than Onana straight away. Mark, can you help me understand what you mean by toxic positivity? I always try to stay positive in any situation in life, but maybe I'm toxic, says James. No, I don't think you are, James. I mean, that's just about being on the, looking on the bright side of life. Toxic positivity is, and they came to the prominence, I think, towards the end of Ten Hag. It was these people who would just find the positive in everything just to be positive. Like, they don't even believe it. They're just like positive about everything. And I think in football, that can be quite nauseating because it's a team of 11 and it's a coach, and it's impossible when things are going bad for you to be positive about absolutely everything. But some people just do it, and it's nauseating. These transfers done and incoming will increase the value of future sales. It's the growing value and reputation of the club that will do all that, says Gabriel. I'm a believer in Carlos Baleba. I couldn't outleave him if I tried, says Juan. I understand Ornstein's transfer strategy right. If I say in front of everyone which lady I want, I will get one, says David. Sesko Inferno, did you see it? I did. I left the comment on the video. David Brent Goldbridge. Yeah, it was very good. 44 Tunes, check it out. They've done a song about Sesko. What is it? I can't remember. Benjamin Sesko. He turned the Geordies down. I don't know the tune. Would it be better to sign 2 CDMs or 1 and a goalkeeper? Got to get a goalkeeper, Zenon. Got to get a goalkeeper. We could have had Delap and not Sesko. Shampers, says 1 Inch Wonder. Have you been eating curry, says Ben. No? Have I got anything around my mouth? Sometimes at the end of the week, Ben, I'm getting old, Someone will be feeding me soon. The hate United will get if Baleba happens will be epic, says Gadget. Look, I think I'm mature enough and you're mature enough. When Arsenal buys Zubimendi, I don't go, he's a bag of shit. I go, oh, that's a good signing. That is a good signing. When Liverpool sign Frimpong, I don't go, he's a bag of shit. I go, that's a good signing. So if we sign Baleba, you will get that from the mature rival fans who will go, I don't like Man United, but that's a good signing. So, yeah, it will get respect if we can do it. I say that, they'll laugh at us for how much we spend on it, but Donnarumma transfer fee is low. We can afford higher wages for him. 200k to 250 in wage isn't that much, says Shahin. Well, it is, Shahin, actually. I mean, I'll call you out a little bit here because I think many of us will, sort of expose the... maybe not from you, but the hypocrisy of that. You can't have a wage structure and then just go, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, Donnarumma, I mean, what is Donnarumma's current wage? That's the starting point. I like doing this, so thank you, Shannon. His wage at PSG is reportedly 300 grand a week. Now, I don't know whether that's correct or not, but that's just a quick search. He's reportedly on 300k a week. Let's say he's not on 300k a week. Let's say he's on 250k a week. That's still a hell of a lot for a goalkeeper. A hell of a lot for a goalkeeper. So I don't see Donnarumma happening. I think he's an amazing goalkeeper, but I don't see it happening. And I don't see Man United breaking their wage structures to do it. I really don't. I don't think we'll go... Because you've still got to give PSG 30 million or 25 million. And then you've got to give him 300 grand a week. So, or 250 grand a week or whatever. I don't think we'll do it. I really don't. But I might be wrong. but he's a fantastic goalkeeper. With all the number 10s we have, selling Xerxes is logical, says Keel. Xerxes is not going anywhere. There's nothing about Xerxes. He's well liked. Amorim likes him. He's well liked in the team. He's settled at Man United. Xerxes, we just don't know what he's going to do. But I don't think he's even fit, actually. Talking about, it's all right saying we don't know what the plan is for Xerxes. We probably would have seen the plan for Xerxes. He's just not fit. Cunha and Burmo Sesko, Carrington refurbished. Baleba might sign and hopefully a goalkeeper too. Some hopes rekindled, says Mojo. I think when you put it down like that, Mojo, Cunha and Burmo Sesko, Baleba a goalkeeper, 5th place, yabba dabba doo. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And I don't think if you've got Mbeumo, Cunha, Sesko, Baleba and a goalkeeper, anybody should be talking about top 4. I mean, I was looking at Chelsea's squad today. Fucking hell. And Man City and Liverpool and Arsenal. And I think that's what people need to realise. It's not a criticism of Sesko, Cunha, Mbeumo, Baleba and the goalkeeper. I think they're all good players that could take you into the top 4. It's the rest. It's the rest of the players. Amorim needs a summer like that. Again, he probably needs 3 of them. He probably needs 3 summers like that. So next season, you bring another 5 in. And then you've basically got 10 players. So I don't think you can start talking about top 4 when he's only had 5 players. I think this is going to take time. And we need to temper the expectations, which is why I keep talking about 5th. Because I firmly believe 5th place will get Champions League football. And ultimately, what's the difference between 5th and 4th, really? 3 million quid. It's not that deep. So, Cunha, thank you very much. Mark, what was the piece of info that convinced you were going to sign Gyökeres? You said, oh, mate, Lamik, I'm so bored of saying... Can somebody just answer that question? I'm not wasting time on this anymore. 29 months, I'm a believer in this channel, says Captain T1. We should lock David De Gea at Old Trafford tomorrow. He's a legend. He's out with dinner. He's out for dinner with Sir Alex, or he was today. You think we should leverage out? Done that one from the Boffman as well. I'm just catching up on your super chats tonight. Thank you for everybody who's done one. Please do subscribe to the channel. To Stegen stripped of captaincy at Barca, there for the taking. Quality goalkeeper, says Lee Bickerton. Well, he's got to go somewhere, hasn't he? I mean, you're not... he's 33. Which is about the same age as Martinez. Be 34 in November. Sorry, in April. I mean, look, I've got to say, ter Stegen has only ever been mentioned by you brilliant people. I've never heard Man United be linked to them at all. I've never even seen an article about it. I mean, hence somebody will write an article now. I mean, it's such an open goal article if you're a journalist in need of, pressure from your boss. Right, and just write one. But I don't think United are going anywhere near him. I've heard nothing about him at all. He's also injury prone, says Carson, and he's on high wages. Leicester won the league, but we can't get top 4, says Boom Shaka. Mate, this has got absolutely nothing to do with... Again, I'm moving on. I'm not getting involved in the rage bait. That is just an incredible statement. Wasn't it that top 4 got Champions League, so how 5th helps? Oh, my God. The after show is in danger. That's 3 in a row. That's 3 in a row. 4 and I'm out. I'm not messing around. It was voted a couple of weeks ago that I don't have to engage with shit comments. Voted for by you. So a lot of people have said we were enjoying the shows. It always drops when you get done by thick comments or rage baits. So I've listened to the chat. We've had some really good 8 o'clock shows over the last 2 weeks because we've avoided stupid comments as voted for by you. Frank says, if we get Baleba and Donnarumma, I'll get a tattoo of Sir Jim. Brave man, Frank, because if I said that, they'll definitely sign them. And I am tattoo free. I have no tattoos at all. So to have one of Sir Jim on my neck. I'll tell you what, if we sign Baleba and Donnarumma, I will... No, definitely not. Definitely not. Can you compare Gyökeres 22 to 23 to Sesko, says Peyton? And that's strike 4. See you later, everyone. Good night. No, I won't take that as strike four, but it is a crap comment, Peyton, because why are you comparing Gyökeres to Sesko? Why? What is it about the modern fan that they have to compare everything to something? Like, every player has to be something else. I never grew up like this. When Zidane burst on the scene, I didn't go, oh, he's the next Gaza. Or, you know, when I saw people like Messi, I didn't go, oh, he's the next Maradona. Or Ronaldo, I didn't say, oh, he's the next Eusebio. I just thought, I always see people as individuals. And I don't know whether that's a rarity these days, because it always seems to me that somebody's got to be somebody else. I think Benjamin Sesko's profile, I have never even thought about comparing him to anybody. I mean, if anybody, I'd say Zlatan, just because Zlatan's big. But I think Sesko's profile is so unique. I don't think he's comparable to anybody, which is why I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't know whether he suits Amorim's system. And not because I think he's going to flop, but because he's such a unique player. I'm excited to see how he's going to fit in. And Amorim's really excited about him, you know. Like, Amorim really likes him. So I think Sesko's just a unique profile. And let's hope in 10 years' time he's a United legend. And next time, and he's completely unique. Hashtag Air Sesko, says Inu. I'm glad you're not opening that bottle of bubbly tonight. Champers should be really chilled before you drink it. I will open it, not Brian, but I had a few last night and I woke up this morning and I felt, I'll talk about it in the 9 o'clock show, actually. Hi, Mark. After Baleba, Mainu will not accept a whole season on the bench. Do you think we should just cut our losses? 70 million per profit. I like him. Hey, Alan. I am going to answer this question. Ter Stegen's only just back from back surgery, says Jacob. Yeah, you don't want back surgery for a goalkeeper. Do you think Bruno will go this financial year, says Chris? It's my conspiracy. It's our conspiracy. We started this conspiracy theory last night that Bruno has a gentleman's agreement to go to Saudi next summer, but he's got to go before the end of the financial year next June. And we will pocket 80 million, which we can spend now on Baleba because it's the same financial year. It's a total conspiracy theory, but we're running with it. And I'm running with another one now that we're waiting for Martinez not to get picked for Villa after he comes back, and then we're going to get him cheap at the end of the window. So we're running conspiracies here. But yeah, going back to that previous comment that Alan said, look, I think this is a really good point. I don't know why Mainu is signing a new contract at Manchester United. I don't know. I'm happy. I want him to, but I don't know why he's signing one, and I don't know why we're giving him 150 grand a week. I'm slightly baffled why we're going to give 150 grand a week, which is a lot of money, and a 5-year deal to a player that can't get in the team. And I'm baffled why he would sign the contract knowing he can't get in the team. I'm baffled by the Mainu situation. I like him. I want him to stay. I want him to play. But it does... there aren't many times in football in my life where I've seen a football club give a 5-year deal and 150 grand a week to a player that can't get in the team, and a player sign it when he's not in the team. It just seems at the moment a really big punt on both parts. I think it's worth the punt because I think he's a really good talent who had a bad year last year, but I still don't see how he gets in the team. So it is an interesting one, but long term, as Plunko says, it might be Mainu and Baleba in the midfield, which, would be good. But I hope Mainu's going to have a really good season this year, because I think people have forgotten how good he was in the breakthrough. He was playing in the fucking Euros for England. So I think people have forgotten how good Mainu is. I think he had a bad season last year, but it is an interesting one. We're going to spend a lot of money and give a long contract to somebody that can't get in the team, and he's going to sign that contract when he can't get in the team. It's certainly a statement of trust on both parties. I just want to see players listening and performing consistently under Amorim, says Scott Page. And I think one of the big things about that, Scott, is that there is huge competition for places now. I think so many people have been coasting, especially under Ten Hag. You knew you were going to play. Rashford knew he was going to play. Garnacho knew he was going to play. There were so many players that knew they were going to play under Ten Hag. because his squad wasn't that big and we had injuries. Look at the squad at the moment. Like, who knows whether he'll go Maguire or De Ligt? Who knows whether he'll go Yoro or Mazraoui? Who knows whether he'll go Shaw or Heaven? Who knows whether he'll go Agate, Casemiro or Mainu next to Bruno? I mean, I think he will go Cunha and Mbeumo, but who knows whether he'll go Ahmad or Dalot? Who knows whether he'll go, Mount? And, we just don't know. And at the moment, there's a lot of competition for places. And competition for places tends to lead to better results, because if someone's underperforming, you can bring another player on. And that means they're motivated. So, look, injuries could dismantle that. But at the moment, if we can avoid injuries, we've got a really good squad. And that's why I want to keep Rasmus. And that's why, I think it's important that we keep as many players as we can beyond the bomb squad of Garnacho. Why do they call them the bomb squad, by the way? People keep calling them the bomb squad. But beyond Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, Martial and Anthony, I don't really think anyone should go now. Happy Friday, says Our Average Life. You too. Okay, Patrick Lynch, you're going to be the last one. Let's make it a good one. The summer has me looking to reassess Ineos. I can see finally them treating the club like the giant it is, but every window will bring new scrutiny. I agree, Patrick. I think that again, there are people forgiving Ineos and saying that they're doing a good job. I wouldn't forgive them for what they've done over the last 18 months. I think some of the stuff they've done is horrific. It's on their watch that Old Trafford's going to get knocked down. It's on their watch that they sacked half of our workforce who didn't deserve it. And they've done a lot of bad things as well. But that doesn't mean you can't applaud the good things. And what they've got to do over the next 18 months is continue to do more good things than bad things, because as an owner of a football club, you will always be scrutinised and you will never be let off, and that's the way it should be, and hopefully we can build upon it. The hardest thing is they don't own the football club, the Glazers do. I think they'd have a lot more leeway if it was Ineos in charge, but it's not. 50% of the club's owned by the Glazers, so that's always going to be a problem, really. Anyway, look, it's been a positive week for Man United, and I certainly think that we've woken up to the fact that we've never seen a summer transfer window like this. For Liverpool to win the league and then go and spend £500 million is just incredible. And you either snooze or you lose. And if you snooze, you lose. We've got to spend money. And at least it looks like we're trying to do that. Right, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe. I will speak to you on the next one. Into the after show. It's Friday night. I'm tired, so I won't be here for very long. But I tell you why I am tired tonight. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you get into this situation? In fact, ejector button. I want an ejector. You know AI is doing big things in the world now. We need an ejector button. But in fact, talking about AI, remind me to tell you something Ricky messaged me about the other day. I just wanted to be in the car with Ricky when he saw this, and so will you. I'll remind you about it. But oh my God, like I went out yesterday. What happened yesterday? So the builders are doing a great job. And yesterday the screed got put down in the kitchen, which is like a concrete that needs to dry. So it got finished at like 2. And although it was a Thursday, it's the school holidays. Mrs. Goldbridge had took Seb and his cousin to Drayton Manor Park and Zoo, and they were getting back about 4. So I said, you know what? It's been a tough week. We've just done Sesco. Here we go at 3 o'clock. Let's go down the pub at 4 o'clock. So we did, and it was nice. And I had I think I only had 3 lagers, 3 pints. And then I was like, the Chinese has just opened. Let's get a Chinese, go back. I'll do the 8 o'clock show and then watch a film. So we did that. I fell asleep about 5 minutes into the film. You know, and if some of you will know this, when you go to bed after a few beers, you tend to fall asleep a little bit quicker. But I woke up this morning. Oh my God, it was like I'd had 10 pints. Now I don't know whether Chinese was a little bit off, but I don't know whether anybody else gets that. Like sometimes, like with wine, I'm fine. I can have 2 glasses of red wine, wake up in the morning, absolutely fine. With lager, I can have 6 pints, wake up and feel like I can do a marathon. Or sometimes I can have 2 pints and I feel like I've been, beat up with a baseball bat. You're just old, says Big Dosser, yeah. But then again, I do actually think, somebody said to me before that a Chinese takeaway dehydrates you. Somebody said that to me, so that could be a bad combo. Lager and then a Chinese. That might be a dehydration. It's dehydration, that's what it is. It's dehydration. So yeah, I feel fine now, but I wouldn't. Friday night, I'd normally have a wine or something. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going clean tonight, and there's nothing going in there tonight. It's the sodium, says Theo. So the story from Ricky was this, right? Ricky is messaging me from America because he went to the States for the tour, and he said, "I saw your video. Hey, Mark, listen up. I listened to your video about Bruno, right? And you're right. It was a bloody disgrace what he did, kicking that player. It was nowhere near the ball. He should have been banned for 10 years. Should have been kicked out of the game. Saudi, should be in prison." And then he went, also, this is all on a WhatsApp, by the way. He goes, also, Atlanta. I'm in a car, in an Uber with the lads on the way to the match, and a car goes past with nobody in it, cuts us up and goes left. And I said, what's going on here? And the driver said, it's a driverless car. It's the future. And I went, what's going on? So Ricky has been introduced to driverless taxis in Atlanta, and it's blown his mind. I think now he wants to get one of them and stick it in the midfield and get rid of Bruno. And he wants to be on the controls. Actually, put Bruno in the midfield with me, and I'll slide tackle him even though he's on my team. Get Bruno, boot him into the stands. Yeah, get him out. Right, give me the ball. This is what you need to do. Give me the ball. Right. Look, let's look at our options now. Right, let's pass it here. But yeah, driverless cars in Atlanta. Scary. I just think about Terminator. I just don't trust. I don't trust humans anyway. I mean, in the last 100 years, we've had 2 major world wars. I don't trust we can build these robots and they won't turn against us. I just don't trust it at all. I've seen Terminator. It only takes a hacker to get in, and these cars are going to be driving around knocking people off the road. Although I have always said an ejector button in a car would not be a bad thing. The amount of times I've been driving along a country road and I'm late, but I'm still doing the speed limit. The national speed limit on some country roads is 60 miles an hour, and Doris is doing 25 in front of me in a little mini metro, and that's dangerous. And I would love an ejector button that is basically like like the front of a train that goes like a triangle like that, so that if they're in the snow, it just moves it aside. I'd want one of those that sort of comes out, goes along the back of the bonnet, and then as it hits the bonnet, just goes and knocks them into the verge. Not in a dangerous way, just sort of like, put them into the verge, out of my way. Yeah. I'd also like an ejector button in conversations as well. I've had this so many times over the years, and fortunately, it hasn't happened to me for about. I don't think it's happened to me this year, which is a testament to everybody I've spoken to this year, whether it's builders, being in New York, people I meet. It's not happened to me this year, but it has happened to me a few times. When you start talking to somebody and you can't end the conversation. Like, they're just one of them people that will not end the conversation. You should be able to go into your pocket on your phone, and if you double tap your phone screen, it goes beep, and they have to fuck off. Like, it's a rule that everybody knows. If that noise happens, you have to end your conversation and walk away. That would be great. That would. But my brain sometimes wanders. I look. I can't believe what I thought about today, right? I'm driving over to drop my daughter off to play football, and we were driving along, and it was really hot, and I saw these lads walking along, and one of them had like carrot hair, like orange hair, and he didn't have a cap on, and he had really pale skin, and I thought this will be good banter. So I said to my daughter, because she's like 15, I said, be careful, he's going to melt. And she laughed. And I didn't need to say anything more than that, because then you might be classed as being gingerist. What I was basically saying is, it's very hot, he's very pale, and he hasn't got a hat on, and he's probably very hot. And then I actually thought, you know what? My skin complexion is quite pale. and I've had skin cancer on the arm. And this is how my brain wonders. You see something on the street, you'd say a joke about it, then you go quiet and your brain wanders into your own conversation, which I presume like you, I have lots of conversations in my head all the time. And I went from that as I was driving along to, well, I've actually got pale skin complexion. I get really hot in the sun. I've had skin cancer. And then I started to think, why have I got pale skin complexion? And then I went, like, my granddad, he had like dark hair, quite dark skin. My mum had dark hair. My dad on holiday would always be sunbathing and get a tan. And then I thought, my nan, she had quite pale skin, and I think it had a tint of ginger. And then my uncle's got ginger hair. So then I thought, it's because of my nan that we've got pale skin in our family. And then I thought, no, and I don't know why I thought this. And then I thought, if my granddad had married someone else, then I'd probably be okay in the sun. And then my brain kicked in and went, you're a bloody idiot. If your granddad had married someone else, you probably wouldn't be here, because that's not how life works. But that's how my brain works. I was sort of like moving my nan out of our family tree so that I could be better in the sun. Yeah. I'm sure we all think like this. I really do. I'm pretty sure everybody's brain works like this. Oh God, you want to try and sleep with me? I mean, not in that way. I mean, you want to be in my head when I'm going to sleep. Oh my God, I can go to sleep with the intention of relaxing. Oh, I'm in the middle. Beckham puts it in, and then before the cross comes in, I'll have gone from Beckham to Nazi Germany. And I'm just using that as an example. Like, my brain will go from, it's like the Kevin Bacon thing, isn't it? Everything comes back to Kevin Bacon. My brain can just go from one thing to something ridiculous in like no time. You could say to me bread, and I'll be onto Vauxhall Astra within 3 thoughts. I'll have gone from a slice of bread to driving a Vauxhall Astra. It's strange. It's creative, I suppose, but I just assume everybody does it. But yeah. What's the connection between David Beckham and Nazi Germany? Off the top of my head, I would say he was always sponsored by Adidas, which is a German brand. What German? Hitler, Nazi Germany. Bang. That's quick. That's the Kevin Bacon thing. Like, you go from like a tin of soup to Kevin Bacon, and it's how quickly you can do it. And my brain's always been like that. So you can just go from one thing to something pretty quickly. Yeah. But it's not a good thing when you're trying to relax and go to sleep, because basically you just want to get on the end of a cross from Beckham, equaliser, get the ball back to the halfway line, and you go again. Which in itself might be a weird way to go to sleep, but it's much better than David Beckham cross comes. I mean, you know, and then I'm in Nazi Germany, probably being chased, you know, and then I'm not being chased by them, and it's a polar bear, and then I'm thinking about mince because of glacier mince and the polar bear, and then I'm thinking about lasagna because mince could be mince from a lasagna, and then I'm in Italy, and then I'm thinking about Ferrari. Then I'm thinking about Lewis Hamilton, and, you know, and it's just like whiz all the way through. Hi Mark, thank you to this wonderful community for supporting our small Nigerian YouTube channel. This is the best community ever. We appreciate you and will continue to support you, says Olu. Thank you very much, Olu. Just watch the replay of the Lyon game, still goosebumps. I can't watch that, Alonso. I can't watch that. I can't watch Lyon anymore. I can't. I don't know how you can watch that Lyon game. It's dead to me. I can't watch it. They killed that in the Europa League final. It means nothing. It's like when we beat PSG with that Rashford penalty. I can't. It means nothing to me. It's dead to me. The Man United way is it has to lead to something. It can't lead to that. It can't lead to nothing. Watch the 99 final. At least that led to something. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Enjoyed that. Nice little bit of therapy. That was more therapy for me, actually. Sometimes it works like that. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got a watch along, and we're in the studio for Countdown to Kickoff because we're starting to get back into the swing of things. So I'm on the 10 o'clock show, then we've got Countdown to Kickoff, then 12 o'clock it's my watch along, all the way through till about 3, match reaction, and then 8 o'clock show tomorrow night. So lots to get into. Appreciate that. Jack says, Basuma has got a year left on his contract. If we could get him and Baleba, I think we would be locked on for top 5. Basuma? Don't go anywhere near Basuma. Trust me. Off-field antics, not got the right mentality. Don't go anywhere near Basuma. Obviously, I think he got into trouble at Brighton, but I don't remember what that was about. But apparently, I've heard from a few people at Spurs that he's not got the right attitude for Manchester United for what Amorim wants, i.e. I don't think he's consistent enough. I don't think he puts the work in enough. Very, very talented, but not the right player, I don't think, for Man United. I don't think so. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Speak to you all in a bit. Thomas says, being Italian, I watched a lot of Xerxes at Bologna. He's a number 9, guys, not a 10. Trust me on this one. We'll see, Thomas. We will see. Take care. Speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching. Legends.